Hey everyone, Mr. MC here. This is a guy for Nurburgring 24h with the Dodge Viper Group 3. And let's get this started by mentioning that we're on the racing medium tires. Brake balance is at +1 or 1 to the rear. So as you're about to get started with your lap, you want to bring yourself towards the left side of the track as you're about to get ready to start to brake pretty soon. So you're going to look for a path that is on the left as you want to brake just after the path starts, so right around the 150 meter board. So just as you pass the 150 meter board, you're going to start to brake as much as you can. Slowly ease off of the brakes as you're turning in, taking advantage of the apex as there's a little dip that will help the car rotate a bit more. And in the Viper, you can briefly go down to first gear to help the car rotate a bit more and then exit the turn on second gear. Then look for the track path that goes to the right as you want to brake just as it ends. So you're going to brake hard for a very short moment, ease off the brakes as you're turning in, but bring yourself towards the left and then brake when the curb on the left ends. You want to be really careful getting on the throttle so you don't understeer onto the gravel. Stay on the left and brake when the curb on the left starts. Braking hard for a while, trying to stay tight towards the inside of the turn and getting on the throttle as soon as you can. For the S's, take advantage of the width of the track and lift off of the throttle so the car can turn in a bit more. And just try your best to not touch the gravel. Then brake before the 100 meter board. Nice and easy off of the brakes, taking advantage of the width of the track. Brake just a little early for this turn. You want to fine-tune the car's direction before you get on the throttle. Don't get on the throttle too early, otherwise you'll end up on the gravel. Then stay on the right side of the track as you want to brake before the 50 meter board. Brake hard for a while and slowly ease off of the brakes as you're turning in. Then look for the dry patch of grass that is on the left as you want to use that as your braking point. So brake before you pass it. Go for a late apex, bring yourself towards the right and brake when the pit wall on the right ends. And you can actually take advantage of the pit exit area as that'll give you a bit more space to set yourself up for a faster exit. When you pass the sign on the left, lift off of throttle and turn in. Just try not to touch the grass. Then this part's pretty hard. Look for the dry patch of grass on the right as that is your next braking point. Braking hard for a while and doing lots of trail braking so you can maneuver around those turns. Quick burst of braking as you go through the right and left turns and then brake before the tarmac turns dark gray. Really careful on the throttle as it's easy to spin out here if you're too aggressive. Bring yourself towards the left as we're about to go through fluke plots, so get ready to send the car flying for a moment. Lift off of the throttle just after you make the jump and carefully get on the throttle, trying to maintain as much speed as you can without touching the grass. Then bring yourself towards the right and just as you pass these two signs, so these are the latter two signs, you want to turn in and just lift off of the throttle, try to bring yourself towards the left and then brake just as the curb on the left is about to end. So you want to brake hard for a very long time, braking at full braking power and slowly ease off of the brakes as you turn in and just gradually transition over to fully accelerating your way out. Then bring yourself towards the right, look for this dry patch of grass that is on the right. You can use that as your braking point, so brake hard for a very short moment, slowly ease off of the brakes, and you want to gradually slow down a lot more as you go through these twistier parts of the track. Lots of braking and throttle control needed through here to try to maintain your speed but also be able to make it through the turns without going off track. Eventually you want to make your way towards the right side of the track and just lift off our throttle. You can use a tiny bit of braking if necessary, but as you reach the writing that's on the tarmac, that's when you start to fully brake. So brake hard for a while and slowly ease off of the brakes as you're turning in. Brake when you reach the white signs on the left. Nice and easy off of the brakes, carefully getting on the throttle. You can take the following S's flat out. And then you want to brake before you pass the curb that is on the right. So you're using around 50% braking power for a short while just slowly easing off the brakes as you're turning in, and then brake just after the dry patch of grass on the left starts. You're braking hard for a while and doing lots of braking control actually, lots of trail braking through here to try to maintain your speed. Bring yourself towards the right and brake before the curb on the right ends. Nice and easy off of the brakes. Then brake before the curb on the left ends. Be very patient getting on the throttle as it's really easy to drift just off of the track enough to touch the grass and end up spinning out. Ask me how I know about that. But anyways, bring yourself towards the left and brake before the Yokohama sign that is on the right. Brake as much as you can for a short while. Slowly ease off of the brakes as you're turning in and carefully get on the throttle so you don't end up on the grass. We'll go ahead and fast forward through this. Bring yourself towards the right. Turn in before the curb on the right ends and just lift off of the throttle. You want to try to maintain as much speed as you can without touching the grass, otherwise you'll have a scary moment like that. Take this turn flat out. Bring yourself towards the left and brake before the curb on the left starts. So you're going to be at full braking power for a while. Slowly ease off of the brakes as you're turning in. Just carefully getting on the throttle. And then look for the happy little tree that is on the left. Wave hello to it and brake just as you pass it. You can try to brake a little bit later, but you do risk getting spit out of the carousel. So braking just as you pass the happy little tree, that's the safest place to start to brake. And just be careful on the throttle, obviously. Try to take this left turn flat out if you can. Brake when the curb on the right starts, so you're going to brake hard for a short moment. Slowly ease off of the brakes as you're turning in. Lots of throttle control through here. Bring yourself towards the left and brake just as you pass the marshal that is on the right. You're going to use around 50% braking power for a short moment, just trying to get back on the throttle as soon as you can. Lift off of the throttle for this right turn and then use a little bit of braking before the left turn. Brake a little bit more if you need to slow down to stay on the track. Brake when the curb on the left ends. Nice and easy through this turn, and then brake before you pass the Yokohama sign that is on the right. So you brake hard for a short moment. Slowly ease off of the brakes as you're turning in, staying on the left side of the track, and then brake before the curb on the left ends. You brake hard for a short moment. Quickly ease off of the brakes. Brake before the curb on the left ends. Take your time slowly getting on the throttle, but bring yourself towards the right as you're going to brake when the dry patch of grass on the right starts. Brake hard for a short moment. Be very careful getting off of the throttle and getting on the throttle as it's really easy to go wide on this turn. Then bring yourself towards the left. You're going to brake just before you make the jump. You're braking hard for a short moment. Carefully getting on the throttle so you don't end up on the grass. Really easy to understeer off over here. And then you're going to go flat out for a while. Just trying to keep the car on the track. Bring yourself towards the left. Look for the track marshals that are on the right as you want to brake just as you pass them. You brake hard for a very short moment and quickly ease off of the brakes as you're turning in. Brake before the curb on the right ends. Nice and easy on the throttle. Look for the second dry patch of grass on the right as you want to brake just as you pass it. And be very careful going through the mini carousel. Just using just a little bit of throttle input to keep the car stabilized. Brake before the curb on the left ends. Don't bite too much of the apex, otherwise you're going to end up flying. Lift off of throttle for this turn, and now we're at the final back straight, and we're going to go ahead and fast forward through this. Take a short deep breath, and then you want to brake when the curb on the right ends. So right around here, you want to brake as much as you can for a very long time. Slowly ease off of the brakes as you're turning in and just carefully get on the throttle, and you are done with your lap. But that is all for the lap guide. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the strategies. For the final daily race C on Gran Turismo Sport before Gran Turismo 7, we're doing 2 laps at Nurburgring 24h with the Group 3 cars. lots of familiar faces, lots of friendly faces like Beast Killer, Turismo Lester, Matt Leslie, and Grove Street Racing. So we actually had this race before. We had it back in November 2021. Same exact settings, even the same exact time of day, where the tire wear is a ×4 and the fuel is a ×2. There's no tire requirements, no pit stop requirements. You're only on the racing medium tires, and because this is a 2-lap race, this is going to be a really straightforward 0-stop race where you pretty much just want to survive. So you also want to be careful when it comes to cold tires at the start of the race, because cold tires means that you don't have as much grip yet. So you want to be a little more careful about how you're driving for a while. So right around the part where you enter the Nordschleife part of the track, that's where your tires should be warmed up. In terms of go-to cars, the Supra is going to be the best car for this race, as it can take advantage of the high-speed sections at the Nordschleife section as I'm getting bumped around. But anyways, the Supra takes advantage of the high-speed sections of the track, especially at the Nordschleife section, which is where it's really going to shine. But there are other power cars that can also do well here. The Chevrolet Corvette is a really good alternative, really good power car alternative. If you want a little more handling and a car that's a little easier to handle, the Toyota FT1 is another really good choice. The Dodge Viper is alright. It's not the best, but it is still serviceable here at Nurburgring 24h under these current race settings. Some people may even try the Porsche 911 RSR, as it's a good handling car. It'll do well on the twistier parts of the Nordschleife section and also do well on the Nürburgring GP section. Just be aware that it doesn't have a good top speed, so it'll suffer on the high speed parts of the track. But if all you care about is just trying to stay on the track while being in a car that is really easy to use, then the Porsche may actually be a good car for you. But anyways, as we enter the Nordschleife section of the track, this is where it gets really difficult to go for an overtake as the track narrows down. You're pretty much going to be forced to stay behind someone and hope that they mess up so you can get an easy pass done on them. Basically, the only places to go for a pass is on the Nürburgring GP section, as that part of this entire track is pretty wide, and on the high-speed sections of the track, as you can take advantage of the slipstream and try to go for an easy pass. But everywhere else, good luck, because it's going to be really difficult to go for a move. Someone can easily defend their spots from you, and also with the track being so narrow, it can be really easy for incidents to happen. You know, you get into a little collision with someone, and before you know it, both of you are spinning out of control and going into the wall. But anyways, let's talk about what happened in this race. So the Triple H in the McLaren has been all over me, so I decided that I'm going to let him pass, because I had a feeling that he was actually going a lot faster than me, and I was only holding him up. So I don't want him to be pressuring me anymore, so I'm just gonna let him pass and hopefully take advantage of a slipstream, so we can hopefully catch up to third and second place to our Indy Supra. And later on in the race, be careful about making mistakes, because even the smallest mistakes can ruin your race, as the McLaren is unfortunately going to touch a bit of the grass and he's going to end up losing control, and I'm going to end up regaining my spots. So yeah, you want to try to make sure that you don't make any mistakes like that, because even the smallest mistakes can be severe, especially at the Nordschleife section. And skipping over towards the end of the race, slipstream, it can be very useful. You can use it to try to do a little bit of bump drafting if you're trying to work together with someone else to catch up to the other cars, or to set yourself up to go for a pass. And it'll be especially useful on the higher speed sections of the track, as that little bit of slipstream is going to help me get past Matt Leslie. But especially at the very final straight at the Nordschleife section, be careful about passing someone too early, because they could take advantage of your slipstream and try to retake their spot back, which is what Matt is going to do to me. And we're going to try to duke it out, but Matt is going to get just good enough of a run to be able to get past me, and he's going to secure third place as he's starting to teleport around. As Matt, fix your internet connection. I know him, so I can yell at him. But anyways, 2 laps here at Nurburgring 24h. You're getting about a 16 to 16.5 minute race, so a pretty short final daily race C for Gran Turismo Sport before Gran Turismo 7. I just want to take the time to thank you all for the amazing support over the past 3 years. Can't believe it has been 3 years. It all started with a silly little lap guide that I made back then. I think that video is still up if you want to look at it and cringe, because I had like a dubstep music intro thing back then. But anyways, yeah, it's been a crazy ride, starting from a small lap guide to doing FI guides and then eventually starting to do live streams. So yeah, it's been a fun ride, and I can't wait to see what Gran Turismo 7 is going to bring to us. And I'll be live streaming it on release night, which is going to actually be Thursday night over here in West Coast in the United States. So for the majority of you, it'll be Friday most likely. And I have 2 more Gran Turismo Sport videos that I'll have up hopefully before Wednesday. So keep an eye out for those. But otherwise, thank you guys for the support. Thank you to Playseat for supporting the channel as well. If you like this video, press the like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I have a membership program thing, which you can check out in the description down below. This is Mr. MCA wishing you a good race, and I'll see you in the next video. Or unless if you're waiting for Gran Turismo 7, then I'll see you in Gran Turismo 7.